Hi guys, on this show we're looking at Winter, Shea, Gabriel, Bravda, Gonzalez, Drake, Riffin and Bronson. We're looking at 1985's Death Wish 3.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of 100 Things We Learned from Film. I'm one of your hosts, my name's Plenty, and I've expired.
And I'm the other guy, John, and I'll be going to the wake for the steak pies.
Such a Scottish thing.
Steak pie week.
John, how are you?
I'm alright, mate. I'm currently boiling right now. It's 24 degrees and it's cloudy as shit, but it's very close, which is Scottish thing.
It's cloth, isn't it?
Very close. Very
cloth, yeah. This week, we're welcoming him back for the still the most guest spots on this programme.
I didn't know that. I'm very honoured.
Yeah, well, we can't get rid of you. It's the problem. You're like fucking cockroaches, as we'll learn later. You're like a fucking gang on some set in London. I'm giving away all the facts.
The only way you're going to get rid of me is with a bazooka at close range.
Spoilers.
It's the fantastic Paul Payne.
Hello,
welcome, mate.
Great to see you again, guys. Really good. Yeah, it's our fourth in it after RoboCop.
It is. We've done RoboCop. Yes, this is your fourth one.
One more and you get the golden mug.
Yay!
I don't know where we're going to get it.
John's the golden mug. Okay, no. We had to bring you on for this because I still remember so fondly the first time you came on, and actually I remember how nervous you were. I listened to that. I listened to Death Wish 2 recently, and you were really, really nervous. And actually, I was on my best behaviour for about 40 minutes until we got into it. And then
the whiskey was flowing. The whiskey started flowing, and everybody just went into a pure random splatter.
Well, that's the thing. I probably didn't start with a whiskey that time.
No, well, you certainly got there eventually. Yeah, so we've had you on for Death Wish 2, RoboCop, and First Blood.
Yeah.
Which are all absolute stone cold classics.
Five-star classics.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But John, what are we talking about this week?
The other stone cold classic, which is Death Wish 3, the number 3, not the Roman numerals. Americans couldn't understand Roman numerals.
Apparently so. Canon did some research, and Americans don't know how the fuck they got on with Rocky 5. I've no idea.
It's the most simple Roman numeral of all, isn't it? It's 3.
Yeah, you just read 3 times 1 is 3. Yeah, well done, lads. All right, anyway. Enough. There'll be enough slagging off Americans as the show goes on without it at the top. Brilliant. Paul, of course, is the genius behind Evil Genius, and does a lot of comic books, a lot of fantastic graphic art that we've seen and purchased ourselves. Do you want to tell the people what you're doing at the minute?
Yeah, I do a lot of bootleg comics, so a lot of stuff using my favourite film. So, the first one I did was Rambo versus the Blair Witch, but I've done lots of stuff around The Shining. And my current project is I'm doing a full adaptation of the Cobra, but I want to do include all the stuff that was in the famous work print that is so
iconic
and lost, and you can only find out stuff about it through like scripts and explanations of what was supposed to be in there. So yeah, I want to, because Cobra is one of my favorite films of all time, and I just want to. I think there's a really good ultra violent, gory version to be told.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're drip feeding that at the minute on your socials, aren't you? So that's really interesting to see. So far, I haven't seen any scissors cutting pizza.
No,
I must have missed that bit.
That's in the second issue, but I have done that.
Fucking atrocious. My wife cuts pizza with scissors, by the way.
What?
She does.
I was rewatching it the other day, though, because I'm really with a magnifying glass, and the pizza's frozen as well. So he's eating frozen slices of pizza. He takes it out of a freezer. He slices it, so I don't know whether he sucks on it. I don't know what he does, but something very strange.
I used to go to school with a lad who ate dry pot noodles. Yeah, he used to lick paint off fucking pipes as well. Probably, I don't know. Anyway, John, what year and what else could we have been talking about?
So the year is back in 1985, and there was some gems. I was going to go with the obvious, right, like Back to the Future and stuff like that, but let's just not go there. So, No Retreat, No Surrender.
Oh,
Jesus. Whoop, whoop.
Have you never done that? Have you ever done that?
No, we haven't done that.
Oh, man.
Code of Silence with Chuck Norris.
Woohoo!
I don't know that one.
City Ninja. Who knew?
What?
City Ninja.
I don't know it, but I want
It's
to
a
know
City Ninja. Is he on a train?
It looks like Shinobi. Some other classics. No, that's not even a classic. Fright Night. Loved it.
Yeah,
Bell End. Legend.
Legend.
the Goonies and Weird Science. Whoop whoop.
All right. Okay.
Love Weird Science.
On a high with Weird Science.
I know. There's a good few, but there's too many to mention. Loose Screws, all sorts of. There's stuff in
It was
here.
a good year for film, 85.
I know.
Yeah,
it was cracking.
absolutely.
There was a plethora of films out there for you for 1985.
Okay.
What my last one? Sorry, I went to end on this one, but I was just saying it again. Cat's Eye. That freaked me out.
Oh, Cat's Eye. What, the smoking bit where he cuts his wife's finger off?
Is that David Bowie?
No, is that not the
the three stories with the
three
cat?
stories, the Stephen
I've
King
not
with
seen
the
that
cat?
one.
And the last one is, so the cat goes through all the stories. The last one is a little baby Drew Barrymore, and she's being attacked by this gnome or something in a...
Yeah,
it's right up your street, mate. It's
Yeah.
right up your street.
Right, get involved.
There's one with James Woods in it, and yeah.
It's going
So
to
anyway.
eBay to search.
Oh, mate, yeah, it's right up your street. I can't believe you've never seen that.
I like it, man. What a cast. I'm
It's
glad.
Sounds like an anthology horror as well.
It is, yeah.
I love
It's
that.
three stories. Yeah.
I'm glad I ended on that now.
Yeah. If you like what we do, please, you can give us a quid and we will give you a shout out every episode. We'll also give you some extra bits and pieces that may or may not have been cut from episodes, as well as some absolute belting little kind of mini episodes throughout. Just give us a quid. It's patreon.com/100 things. You can get us on all the socials, follow us and interact with us on there. We love that kind of stuff. And that is just at 100thingsfilm.co.uk. Fantastic. So 100 Things We Learned from Film.co.uk. I will get that fucking right one day. 100 Things We Learned from Film, the name of the podcast.co.uk. Anyway, let's get started. But before we start, gentlemen, a moment's silence, because this month marks 20 years since Chuck Bronson died.
Oh.
He died August 2003. The world of vigilante films, in my eyes, is less without him. This opening title, by the way, is lush. John, you've already got the fact that we've got Death Wish 3. I have that written down here as my first fact, so congratulations on beating me to that. But
Thank you.
this funky beat as he crosses the bridge into New York City on this bus. And again, Paul, it's your mate returning for his second job.
Nice.
Well, I don't think he actually recorded any new stuff. They just used the same music from Death Wish 2.
Right. Okay.
It's all the same thing.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Because that's what I read anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's just like a really upbeat kind of funky kind of.
Oh, it is really
keyboard.
funky. Yeah, with quite a lot of samples and bits and pieces. And I just thought.
It's like the demo. Maybe you used to get a keyboard and then you get demos. Like,
totally.
Yeah,
and his I don't know about you boys. I love New York. I think it's an amazing, wonderful city. It's one of the best places you can probably set a film, and I love that. And it's also probably one of the best places you can film a film, especially a Death Wish film. Except for this one. Because it's all filmed where, boys?
London.
London.
There's this
Brixton.
opening scene where he gets this he gets out of the bus, and then he gets out of the bus terminal and into a taxi, and then we never see the city again.
Yes, it is gone. Gone and forgotten.
That is why that introductory scene goes on for about 10 minutes. They're like, this is New York, this is New York, this is New York, and all stock footage, and then, like you say, it doesn't look like that ever again. But I love when Bronson comes out of the bus and they play his little...
Yeah, I like that. The bus goes up this turnpike really quickly and almost like on its side. I don't know what it was doing. And I almost thought it was like the scene from Speed. Hey, Andy, they were cans.
There you go.
Cans, Andy. These hoods with the distinctive face paint, by the way, are shaking down this character Charlie, right? And I thought, this character Charlie, I recognise him from things. Obviously, he's going to be the main character in it that's not Bronson. No, he's got 2 lines. Like, get the hell out of my apartment, and the line coming up shortly.
There's no establishment of their relationship at all in any of the other films.
Yeah.
And even like in that scene between them, it's just like totally
He's literally just came out. It's like I know this guy for the war.
They desperately try and stitch it together later on with Bennett, by the way. It's terrible.
The Poundland Ernest Borgnine.
Exactly.
Oh, God, yeah.
Non-union Ernest Borgnine.
That is. With darker eyebrows.
Absolutely. And less masturbating. Did you ever see that, Paul? The Ernest Borgnine interview of him on Fox News. So he's on Fox News, and they're saying, Ernest, you're 90 years old now. He says, "What's your secret?" And he says, "I don't think I could say on the air." And he's like, "No, you can tell us. It's okay." "No, it's a little bit rude." And he whispers it, but his mic's obviously on, so like he can hear it. He goes, "I like to jack off. I like to jack off every day." So, it's on YouTube. When you find that, it is. Mwah.
You were schooling me today. I've never seen that.
Borgnine's a fucking treat. I love him so much. Basically, he's got a lead pipe that he tries to smash Bill and/or Ted in the face with.
Yeah.
And PK's on the phone trying to call Charlie from the bus station, but the Hoods just pulled the cable out of the wall. So obviously he knows something's up because Charlie always answers the phone.
No, but when it snapped, it just goes do. But he just pulled it away from his ears. If somebody just called him a bastard or something,
as if someone's dialing up with a modem on the other end.
And apparently he said that that scene took ages to film. Bronson was being a bit of an arse and he didn't want to do it because he said that he couldn't hit Alex Winter because he looked like a choir boy. And apparently it made Winter really mad. But
I saw that as well. Kersey knows that something's wrong and jumps into a cab and says, "Hey, cabby, $20 if you can get me out of here." $20 today, $56.82. Yeah. Fucking hell, I'd drive him to the moon for that.
That's decent.
Isn't it? He's getting roughed up. We see all the other residents of the building. This is back at Charlie's place. And it's like all the people that live in the tower block at the start of Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, it's
I got Dawn of the Dead vibes a lot from it. I don't know why.
I think it's the type of building, and I think it was kind of like the little apartments around it.
Yeah. It was like the actual the neighbourhood and Batteries Not Included.
I just said exactly that. She got massive Batteries Not Included vibes from it. Except instead of being saved by little robots, they're saved by the bloke out of that dug all the tunnels in The Great Escape.
I ain't got nowhere.
You just planted the seed for a Death Wish versus Dawn of the Dead project.
Oh man, I think you're going to do Death Wish versus those little robots. Batteries Not Included. Bronson Not Included.
Aye.
That's a great title.
Dawn Wish.
Paul arrives to find Charlie on the floor. "Paul, take care of my things, will you, till I get back." And he dies.
Oh, grim.
Take care of my things, will you?
I can't believe that anyone has not got the lesson that being an associate of Bronson in any way
is not a good thing.
His whole family have been raped to death, and probably anyone who's known him. And this guy is just waiting for him to turn up and gets fucked up.
The secret is never have an ice cream with him. There you go, as we will learn later on. Third movie, and I love the fact that his thing is ice cream and moida.
Because he had a nice lolly, didn't he?
Yeah, I'll come to that.
He had a funny feet.
The cops show up and start kicking Paul Kersey around. They're giving him the shakedown in the station, and one of them punches him in the stomach. "See, no bruises." I'm like, no, there won't be bruises when you pull your punches like that, mate. It's a shocking punch.
They're just like beating him up in like the middle of the office as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's not like they've even taken him to an interrogation.
Or in the middle of the hospital, wasn't it? It was
Oh,
shot,
yeah.
all shot in the hospital.
Lambeth
Yeah.
Hospital. Yeah, that's right. The chief arrives and gives it that basically the big Clarence Bodiger, detectives, leave. He knows Kersey, even though he's been going by the name Paul Kimball.
I know. I was like,
okay, we've got a Bennett and we've got a Kimball in this film. I wonder where they got those ideas from.
Where's Tommy Lee Jones at this point? Dr. Campbell.
He was there when Kersey was brought in at the end of the first movie, when he was shot. And this is all filmed in the closed Lambeth Hospital, as I've covered. Paul Kersey explains he's not a vigilante anymore. And he's like, look, I don't care who you are. I want you to go out there and get them sorted. Not me. He's like, he says, well, I'm just going to keep you locked up. You always violate people's constitutional rights. And he's like, this is my office, and I am the law. He's very good.
Punches him again, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. Constitutional rights, I'm going to assume he means Amendment 6, right to a fair trial. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed. Or, perhaps he means Amendment 8, bails, fines and punishment. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted on Charles Bronson.
Oh, does it specifically say his name?
It does specifically in the Bill of Rights, the US Bill of Rights. It talks because he's that old.
Oh, true.
He is 65 in this, isn't he?
He's 65 in this, and I've let myself down by not getting the age of the character that plays Davis, but I'm pretty sure she was under 30, and it just made me
creepy as fuck.
Even that close-up kiss, you're like,
the moustache.
No. He's got a bit of steroid outside his mouth. Oh,
I reckon that moustache stinks of pipe smoke.
Aye. Smell like gun smoke, because
and gun smoke, yeah.
They roll about a bit more on the ground, and the detectives come back in, dragging him off and putting him through the system. So he gets his mugshots and he gets put in a cell with loads of freaks, basically. There's this guy who's tweaking, screaming at him. And then there's this big lad, toilets off the wall, and he's like, I tore it out. Oh, it's a shitter, right?
That scene is so weird. I watched it a few times to understand, because it had the punchline doesn't work at all unless Bronson had put his head down the toilet. Because you ended up with shit on your face, is what the other people say.
Yeah.
And he pushes his head through the bars, doesn't he, sideways?
Well, maybe it was the original scene, though.
I reckon that's what happened when I rewatched it. I reckon that was meant to be the punchline. He was meant to push his head down the toilet.
Right.
Okay. There was a lot of scenes reshot without Bronson being there.
Yeah.
So
he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy at the end. That's a 2 out of 10 line for me. Kersey makes eye contact with another prisoner. Now, I keep writing it down as Fraker, but it's Freaker, isn't it?
Yeah, Freaker.
It's Freaker.
He said it later
for some
on.
Reason,
I'm going to kill Freaker.
Fraker.
Bronson calls him Fraker throughout the film.
Sure. Yeah, but then at one point he calls him he gets called Freaker. So I was like, fucking hell, make up your mind. So much inconsistency.
Freaker's better.
Of course it is, yeah. Where do we know him from, this particular actor?
Happy Days.
He's in loads.
Yeah.
He's in Midsummer Murders and all sorts.
He's in Midsummer Murders.
Is he no Irish or something?
I was going to say Willow.
Oh, so he was,
yeah. Yeah.
Willow.
He's in Willow. And he's, again, really kind of creepy in this. They do a great job of getting creepy types of characters.
That hairdo's a definite hair don't, though. Who does that?
Oh, the shade down the middle.
That's called. That is a reverse mohawk, and it actually has a title. It's a horseshoe mohawk.
Oh, right. Oh.
Peter Gabriel had one when he was in Genesis back in the 70s.
Of course he did, yeah. Jesus Christ.
The gang members in these films, though, I was like, the more I watch them, they are so far from reality. They're like, I would imagine if Andrew Lloyd Webber was doing a stage show and he wanted to create a gang, that's how they would look.
Yeah.
They're right out there. The giggler.
Giggler. But there's this one guy, and he's got a chain G-string over his jeans. It's like wrapped round his waist, and the chain goes over his penis and up his arse and round. It's a chain G-string. Surely no one.
Fucking hell. Sounds painful. Yeah. The next morning, in the cell. They're trying to rough up Chuck, who's blatantly got padding up his shirt, and for this when they're beating up. Real men stuff their shirts, pally. The cops break up the fight, and Freaker's let out. He says, "I'm going to kill an old lady just for you. Catch it on the 6 o'clock news." And that's something weird that I've said for years and years. Like, when something happens, I've always got to catch it on the 6 o'clock news. And I couldn't remember what I was saying it from. Till
I'm glad you don't say that I'm going to kill an old lady. I know,
I thought you were going to say I'm going to kill some old woman.
Not that big. Like, I'm going for a shit, catch it on the 6 o'clock news. Later, this lawyer, Catherine Davis, is talking to Stryker. When he says they aren't going to let Kimball out, she says, that's against his rights. He's got a case to sue you. Stryker's trying to get to the bottom of the neighborhood issues in this place. It's called something in Belmont. And I looked it up, this area, and it's like 2 blocks from what I could see, but there's nothing remarkable gone on here at all. There's loads of social housing, but that's it. Like Sutton and Belmont, I think.
So it's a real place, but it was...
Yeah, it's like a real kind of area, yeah.
So just to go back to the policeman, the chief, did no one else pick up the dude that he keeps on calling him dude?
No, I didn't. No.
Like several times. And
El Dudino.
Yeah, but if you're not into the old brevity thing.
I just thought they obviously had miscast Alex Winter, because I thought he would be perfect, but he calls Charles Bronson a dude like throughout the film, and I didn't understand that bit either. But I thought one of you guys would have picked it up.
No, you're right. I recognise that he'd said it, and I was kind of like that. Just doesn't work. It doesn't work on any level. Stryker's got this idea. He checks Kersey out. Where have you been? In the country, having a rest. Stryker has a theory that Kersey went pro after LA, Kansas, and Chicago. He's been on a tour. He says, "Why are you here? It's a great city. I really missed it." It's kind of fun. On the subject of things that we've missed, I missed that bus and it's, from the beginning, which was a Trailways coach. But those particular bits there reminded me. Trailways coach still exists. I tried to book a ticket from Kansas to New York City, see what I was doing there, but no tickets found. I did manage to do Chicago to New York City. So I assume that's where he's come from on this Trailways, because he mentioned Chicago as the last place. $250 with 2 changes, and it takes 24 hours. America's just too big. Simple as that. Just split it up into smaller countries.
That Trailways is made up of 70 independent companies.
All right, good spot.
But they're all licensed for that name. Yeah, I've seen that as the Go bus or some big red dot thing.
Oh, I'd found the Peter Pan bus, and I just thought, Shamon, Peter Pan bus. Ride the train. Founded in 1936, that particular network of buses. Not Peter Pan or the Michael Jackson train.
All the even number films are set in New York, and all the odd numbers are set in Los Angeles. I don't know if you've got that.
No, I haven't, but that's a good one. Fantastic.
And it's Alex Winter's second film.
All right, okay, good spot. A little tiny baby, Alex.
Yeah, he refused to do any rape scenes as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
He put an extra to do it. There was an extra that fancied some extra work, and he convinced him to do it. I'm like, okay.
Can you imagine that? I'd love to be, or wouldn't actually love to be a fly on the wall, but Winner directing a rape scene, I bet was the most horrible experience.
Oh, God, aye.
Because, there's some stuff I took.
Touch her there, grab her. There's another film called Dirty Weekend where it's like proper graphic. You're like, man, he's behind that camera spanking it, didn't you? Oh.
There, it's only a penis. Yeah.
But there's a bit later where the lady from Star Trek, Deanna Troi, she's getting raped, and apparently when it was being filmed, she was cold because she's lying on a mattress in a warehouse, and she asked for a coat in between scenes, and he was like, No, I'm lighting the scene. I'm lighting, so he wants her to be nude for the whole time. Wow. He's a creepy motherfucker.
Yeah, he's not right in my opinion at all.
Totally.
But this is the least rapey of the film so far, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. 2019 interview with The Stage. Marina Sirtis, who's the lady you're speaking about, spoke of participating in making this film. When asked about the Me Too movement, she said, "I know you're not supposed to speak ill of the dead, but I hope director Michael Winner will rot in hell for all eternity." Yes, gal! I was pressured into doing a graphic rape scene with nudity I did not feel comfortable with. I said nothing. You didn't say anything because you were told you would never work again. I wasn't going to let some idiot who didn't know how to behave destroy the dream I'd had since I was 3 years old. And, it's shit. It's fucking shit. But he's dead now. And I assume it was a painful death.
Fuck him.
The detective's plan is to let Kersey out on the gang. You're letting me loose, and he gives this smile. It's great. It's such perfect Bronson stuff. The sergeant shows up and explains Davis is the public defender, and she's going to check him out. Yeah, now, this really bothered me. Paul, I don't know if you noticed this, but this guy, this sergeant, it looked like these two, it was Charles Bronson looking in a mirror. These two looked exactly the same. I'm pretty sure the guy playing the sergeant must have been Chuck's body double for the stunts, because they've got the tash, he's got the hair. They look almost exactly the same person, except the sergeant's a little bit bigger.
It wasn't that Robert Bronzy who's made those Bronson exploitation films like Death Kiss and
fuck. We could do a couple of mini episodes on that, mate, for the patrons.
There's
I'd forgotten about those. Jesus.
He did one called The Gardener, which was his version of The Mechanic.
Oh, Jesus.
Not The Constant Gardener. That's a very different film. Fucking hell. Anyway. At the gang hideout, this guy Hector that's been looking after stuff while Freak has been away is a real dick. He looks like a young Paul Putner, the comedy actor. And he gets a good old-fashioned stabbing, doesn't he? I've been taking care of business while you've been away. And he's like, yeah, it seems like you're being a bit of a dick to my men. How about thee?
Apparently that was one of the biggest cuts. Apparently the original scene was much more brutal and you could see the knife going into the neck.
Oh, right.
So
okay.
I would have liked to have seen that person.
Davis wants Kersey to press charges, but he's having none of it. She gives him a card. That'll come back later on.
And she falls madly in love with him in that.
Oh, instantly. Instantly.
Which you would, wouldn't you?
Straight away.
I have.
There's no chemistry at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, she seeks him, travels to a bad part of town to meet him through that interaction.
Yeah, absolutely. I spotted this while he was talking to the detective. There's an advert in the background for police horses. I couldn't quite see what it was, but it was like police horses. I don't know. Join up now if you're an equine. Join us now, kind of thing. I don't know it. Very good. It takes around 2 years to train a police horse. They are not bred specifically for the job. It's 16 weeks of training in the UK police to be a mounted officer. And in 2013, a Newcastle United fan punched a police horse.
Yeah, remember
Barry
that.
Rogerson got a year in prison for it, and the horse got some sugar lumps. The horse was called Bud and died in 2020 at, quote-unquote, a retirement home for police horses.
Blue Factory.
A kebab shop, I've written, but okay. There you go. Interesting or not.
Nice.
Listeners, you decide. Walking through the streets of this London set, this guy robs a woman of a purse, and Paul Kersey's much younger and faster stunt double takes chase into this underground car park. He looks like he's wearing Jeff Goldblum in The Fly wig.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. Alex Winter jumps on a woman's car windscreen and calls a bitch about 20 times.
Hey, bitch, give me a bitch.
Yeah, that's surefire way to get a 15, at least. She drives into the underground car park, and Paul Kersey twats him in the face with yet a further lead pipe.
Is that one you're talking about, Paul?
That was the scene where he didn't want to do it because he thought Alex Winter looked like a choir boy.
Like a kid.
Now, the weapons only get bigger and better as we go on from this lead pipe. It's like that game Kingpin, Life of Crime. I'm sure you both remember that.
I was going for a gun game in Call of Duty where you just start with a knife and then you land up with a bloody bazooka.
Yeah. Oh, Kingpin Life of Crime was the one where Rock Superstar was the soundtrack to.
He definitely levels up. It's like you've now got the rocket launcher.
Kersey meets Bennett, Charlie's neighbour. Bennett. We learn that Charlie's been buried already. How long was he in that cell for? Or, better question, is Charlie Muslim? Could be. Muslim funerals happen within 3 days of the death. In keeping with tradition of burying the deceased as soon as possible, a Muslim burial takes place immediately after the funeral service. And the body is wrapped in white sheets, then carried to the gravesite by male relatives. Men are wrapped in 3 sheets, women in 5. 1 sheet is not plenty.
It's still my joke.
The grave is dug parallel to Mecca, which is southeast in Britain, and placed in the grave, lying on its right side. No coffins are used in Muslim burial, and the body is interred wrapped in a shroud. Close male relatives prop the head, chin, and shoulder with balls of hand-packed soil. Other mourners assist in the burial by throwing 3 handfuls of earth into the grave whilst reciting more prayers in Arabic. So many of those things are completely similar to Christian burials.
Yeah, I was just thinking
Protestant, Catholic burials, Jewish burials. There's so much. I guess there's only so much you can do with a corpse. Unless you're Paul Kersey, throw them off a roof.
Well, no, in some countries they dig them up and actually parade them about for the day, didn't they? I can't remember what it is. They actually dig them up.
Weekend at Kersey's.
Oh no, I've got another bootleg project. Have you ever done Weekend at Bernie's?
No, it is on the list. It is on the long list. Yeah. It's up there with a lot of fucking shit, I'll tell you.
Weekend at Hannibal's.
We learned that they met in the Korean War, as you mentioned. And his line is, I was a conscientious objector. John, do you remember that conscientious objector quiz from the first Death Wish film?
Yeah.
I did. It's all right, I'm not doing that again. Because we can't, we don't. We rerun facts. We don't rerun facts on this pod. I think you did okay on that one, yeah. B. Arthur. B. Arthur was in the army. Yeah.
The Golden Glass.
Bennett explains it used to be a good neighbourhood, but the creeps on the street killed Charlie. He points to the gang out the window, and Bennett says he's got nowhere to go. He fixes clocks and cab meters, and he won't be run out of here. Kersey explains to Bennett what Charlie said about taking care of his things till he gets back. Bennett's kind of like, okay. Well, maybe we'll put you up in a dead man's flat.
Aye.
Bennett says the cops have finished with Charlie's place and the rent's paid till the end of the month. And it's this kind of like wink kind of bit, isn't it? Jesus. If only that was how landlords worked, lads.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Chuck's looking at Charlie's medals and pictures when he hears the gang outside. The next morning, they're still at it, and we hear one of the gang is called Giggler.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's an intimidating name, isn't it?
It's a little bit. And apparently he laughs as he runs. And as they're looking outside, he goes, Jesus, he really moves.
Well, I was on straight like that.
I was disappointed, though, that Bronson just observed that, and he wasn't out there trying to... He just like...
No, but he's making his way up.
Internally, he's scoping it out.
He is. He's checking out.
He gets Giggler in the end, proper.
Oh, yeah, he gets him good. We meet Rodriguez and Maria. She was the chick in the car the night before, and he's Gary Wilmot.
Yeah, really is.
Kersey says, do the cops do anything? And he goes, they enforce the parking laws. I was like, oh, ACAB. Nice. Maria, of course, little baby Marina Sirtis, as we've covered. And in this, she has a better mustache than Charles Bronson, in my opinion.
I watched it in HD. I didn't pick that up.
Yeah. It was a HD rip we had, wasn't it, John?
Aye.
Talking about Chuck's moustache, I was watching another channel about Death Wish 3, but this guy said that the reason that Bronson's moustache doesn't join up is the two sides are too scared of each other. I thought that sums it up.
That's good.
Chuck calls Willie. You just take it easy, Bennett. This is my problem. It isn't. It's been Bennett's problem for years.
Yeah.
He opens a post office box from the soup Nazi, I think, behind the counter, and buys a motor. How are you going to pay for that? Cash.
Just cash.
When he gets back, Bennett's like, what's the car for? And he goes, that's beat. And I was like, who did it better, Paul Kersey or Max Rokotansky? That's bait line is a classic for me. I absolutely love the Mad Max Fury Road. That's bait. But
that was a 1976 Cadillac Seville.
Oh, was it? Oh, that's an absolute classic, isn't it? The Cadillac Seville.
That's an everything, no. All I've got is it's a trap, and I just can't get fucking Star Wars at me.
It's total Bronson entrapment, this bit, isn't it?
Of course it is.
It's a honey trap. Honey trap.
Kersey explains, I was coming up the stairs and I smelled some food. It smelled great. Bennett's like, oh, that's the Kaprovs on the first floor. I love this old pair. Stuffed cabbage. They invite him in. And I was like, that doesn't sound good. And then I read a recipe. Stuffed cabbage is a Jewish specialty. Mince in cabbage cooked in tomato sauce. I'm not going to lie. I would probably shit myself after a plate of that, but it sounds tasty. I was also into this couple, the Kaprovs, because they look like the couple out of Rosemary's Baby.
Oh,
you know the couple that...
The sweeties.
Yeah. There's a carry-on outside, and Kersey heads out. Hey, what's the problem with the car? We're stealing the car, that's what it is. What's it to you? It's my car. And then he kills the pair of them too. John?
Blamo, blamo. Blamo, blamo.
And then he comes back in. He's like, we heard the noise. What was that? I sent them a message. I mean, you sent to the
finishes mince and cabbage. I love the way he's so formal. Like even when he gets up and excuses himself from the table. Yeah. Goes out, kills two people, and comes back and finishes his meal.
There's a bit later when they do a thing. I've not written it down. It's like, you'll have some more, won't you, Mr. Kimball? Because I know you love the beef or something, isn't it? And he's like, oh, you better believe I do. Then that moment, he's like, oh, he's like his eyes light up, and basically these two old fuckers are just serving him up food day and night.
It's the only time he shows any real emotion in the whole film. Probably.
Yeah, because he doesn't. He shows barely any towards Davis, as we see.
Even after sex.
No. He goes up and picks up his mail as a thing after sex. I mean, that's how stimulated he was.
That's equivalent to going on Facebook once you finish having sex, isn't it?
That's the 80s version. But I just thought, I love Bronson, and I think part of the thing about Kersey, I think part of the charm of it is that he does not give a fuck about these films.
No.
You can just tell. He is this is the definition of phoning in a performance.
I'm going to argue that the first one, the stuff in that, and I know I said this, listeners, if you listen to the first Death Wish, I know I said this to death, but it's such a great tale of a man on the fucking edge losing it. And you're right, he's never really done emotion particularly well, except maybe Once Upon a Time in the West, which is obviously phenomenal in.
Yeah, I just think after the first one, he just phoned him in.
Of course he did, yeah.
But apparently, Chuck Norris was offered it because Bronson wanted more money. Right. I think he got 1.5 mil.
He did, yeah.
And Chuck Norris turned it down, said it was too negative, I think it was his words.
Right, okay. So, he only liked to kill Vietnamese. Chuck Norris. He didn't like to kill Americans.
How was Invasion USA not negative?
Indeed. Next day, the gang murder another gang member for being on their turf. Now, this bit was pretty gruesome as well. I thought this was a pretty
I thought
nasty
that was...
bit.
Oh, the axe?
Yeah.
Right to the head?
Yeah. Fire axes. I did find a fire axe for sale, boys. Flat-headed firefighter's axe, £8 in weight, $260 from firefighterAxe.com. Does exactly what it says on the handle, I assume.
Well, looking at bargains, I was able to see that bus that he was in. See the bus at the beginning? You can actually buy that as a scale model for $28. When I was looking up that bus and I typed into Google, it showed me a miniature bus.
Man, is there a little tiny chuck on it on the back?
No.
Polishing his revolver. Eating some stuffed cabbage. This guy's hassling Rodriguez and Maria. And Paul Kersey shows up in his leather jacket and granddad collar.
Yeah.
Which I really, really liked.
You know shit is getting real when a leather jacket comes
in. When a bigger jacket goes on.
Absolutely. He gets rid of this guy. Is this where he shoots the guy in the back? No, he doesn't shoot this guy, does he?
Just stare at him.
Yeah, he hassles him out of the way. And this little kid is like, yeah, right on, man. And Bronson gives this black power salute, which I honestly couldn't have loved more, in spite of the fact it's the weakest black power salute I've ever seen.
Go Panthers. Go Panthers.
It was like nothing. It was so bad. But the kid that kid he kind of makes friends with throughout the film. Like that kid's kind of in scenes.
But he never died, even though he had an ice cream room.
That's very true. But that kid is letting his soul glow.
Oh, Jesus!
Did you see that Winner saw him street dancing and?
Oh right! Wow.
Yeah.
And what's put him in?
He's a big. That character is such a stereotype of 80s movies, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
just like that.
The little kind of kid, the little sidekick kid. Yeah.
He's got such a small role in it. He's just there basically cheering on Bronson's massacre, isn't he?
Dodging motorbikes as well at one point.
Oh yeah, forgot about it.
He's us in the film. He is the audience in the film, isn't he? We're all cheering on Bronson.
Yeah,
and if we watched it in 3D, we'd be dodging
the bullets.
Yeah, absolutely. Next scene, we see he's doing press-ups fully clothed in the flat, by the way.
Yeah, no bother.
Freaker calls to say they're going to take care of him. He gets off the phone and sees these brilliant footprints that have just been painted on the floor.
They are perfect, aren't they?
Yeah. And at no point do they, like, fade away. They're just always... It's almost like someone's just walked through some tar.
Like proper out of a cartoon.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, cartoon.
And he decides to do his first home security measure with Paul. Yeah.
That's the nails in the board.
The nails in
it's
the
a door
wood.
with a nail in it.
This is where it goes proper Home Alone.
Oh, it absolutely does. As he's walking through the neighbourhood, Stryker collars him. Kersey explains that Freaker is the main culprit, and the cops, and he says the cops can't do anything because he's got a cleaner record than you. And I'm like, are they shit or are they bent? I don't know which it is. I can't figure out.
I couldn't call it either. I couldn't call it.
The first time I ever saw it, and I always thought that the cop was meant to be the corrupt one, and he was going to like do over Kersey at the end, but it doesn't turn out that way. He turns up and helps him.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's so weird.
Alert, sorry.
Spoilers.
Spoiler alerts for a nearly 40-year-old film.
We've already said the main villain gets killed with a rocket launcher. Or whatever it was.
Absolutely. Back in the apartment, we see that there's blood on the floor from the nails. Fiddle-dee-dee, that will require a tetanus shot. Next day, this old woman's getting hassled for protection, and she's this brilliant old dame. She's not having any of it. I don't need no protection from you creeps. Get off my pocketbook.
I wanted her to get her own franchise.
I did as well. Battering people with a bag. It's like a Monty Python character, isn't it? Davis arrives to talk to Kersey. She wants to have dinner with him, and this is the bit we're talking about. He's like, "Look around, it's not safe." And she's like, "We'll say yes. When? Friday? Friday's good for me."
I don't understand why she says, "I stay in a basement."
I stay in a basement. Okay.
With many leather-bound books.
Do you put the lotion on your skin as well? You know. And he agrees to go, but only if she'll leave. Fucking hell. All right. So you're absolutely right. You've covered what I wanted to talk about, and that she falls madly in love with him straight away, and she's young enough to be his daughter. And Freaker's watched her leave.
No,
it just doesn't work.
There's apparently relationships between solicitors and clients is not banned, but there should be some sort of.
Well, she's legal aid, isn't she? Really?
No.
So you know,
she also says, doesn't she, to him that I don't meet many people, and Bronson is the best person she's met in her job.
Which this is
questionable.
I know, yeah. She probably has the kind of ending she deserves. You know, if that's the level.
She shouldn't have gone out to pick up Bronson's mail after sex with him.
No, absolutely. Everybody knows you should never do that.
You've got mail. Imagine so much that like, oh, somebody's going to die.
These cops arrive to take a gun off the Kaprovs. And this is where I thought the cops are bent. Because that's apparently the biggest crime in the neighbourhood. Yeah, don't you know it's illegal to have a gun in New York City? and they take those off of them, and then out of almost a smash cut to these lads in the window nicking their portable telly.
Yep, straight off the bat.
Now, if they don't want their telly taken, why does it have a handle on the top?
Exactly.
I know what the film's trying to say. I get it, but it's really heavy-handed for me. That
portable telly.
Yeah. PK explains he'll take care of it and sets up this brilliant second Home Alone trap. John, what was this?
I love this trap.
Is that the plank with a nail in it?
This hasn't even got. This one hasn't got a nail in it. This is just because it escalates further and further. This is just the plank, and when he opens the window, it gets the anyway. Yeah, so that
bit made me laugh. Makes me laugh out loud. The reaction when you hear the guy come trying to get.
I'm sure it smashed the window as well, but they silenced it because it just wanted that window a billion, didn't it?
But for that trap to work, the guy breaking in would have to line up perfectly with the plank.
Yes, he would. Yeah,
the time he lifted it a wee bit, it would just fly through the window.
Yeah. And when they go in. There's just two teeth stuck to it.
I know.
The teeth aren't even embedded. That's not how teeth work.
I know.
At all.
It was Nosferatu teeth as well. It's right at the front, wasn't it? Like, fuck's sake.
I did love the report the next day, though. We're looking for a suspect missing 2 front teeth. That's kind of fun. Next day, there's another bag snatcher by the super fast giggler. They can't catch him, so they get Willie in. What was Willie?
It was a Wildy Hunter gun.
Yeah. Wieldy. I thought you said Willie. Wieldy.
It's Wieldy. No, I thought I'm sure he calls it Willie. On my subtitles, it says Willie.
It's Wieldy. It's a Wieldy Magnum.
Oh, right. Okay. It is a Wieldy. Yeah, it is a Wieldy Magnum, which is why I was kind of because I've got a 475 Wieldy Magnum bullet. Yeah,
and it's his gun.
Oh, right.
Okay. Yeah, it's Bronson's favourite gun.
His favourite gun, and he got the producers not to. Use it's basically his gun.
Okay.
Every time I ever draw him in any of my comics, he always has the Wieldy Magnum.
Oh, right. Wow. Sales of Wildy Magnum guns would go up on a regular basis when this was shown on cable TV, according to the managing director of Wieldy, which I kind of liked.
I love the way that a conscientious objector is he loves that gun so much. He's proper with his little wooden box, and he's talking about it. It's like
he's talking about it like it's a person.
Yeah. And there's another bit later on where he picks it up out of the dust and he caresses it so much, and he's looking for the damage.
But again, it's because it's a mental health problem. He's got a mental health problem. We know that from the first 2 movies. This is where Marina Sirtis' character Maria gets assaulted. And I agree with you. It's a much less brutal rape than the first 2 films. They get a phone call, and I love this. They say she'll be all right. She just has a broken arm.
Yep.
And they get to the hospital, and she's dead.
Yep.
I actually Googled, can you die of a broken arm? And apparently, if you're very, very old, like an old person, you can. You can. But yeah,
that was a young'un.
I didn't understand that.
Something about blood clots getting into her heart.
Something I don't think. She died. What was that device?
Have you got to expire with a smile? Get expired.
It's a real turn of all these films that it's a minor injury that ends in the death of a woman.
Oh yeah, because somebody's always survives it, and then they survived. That's great, and it's like, no, they're dead.
Yeah, and there's a bit later on where they go to hospital. Bennett's been battered, and I'm like, Bennett's dead. Yeah, he's going to get there, and Bennett's dead.
But just jump forward. The next minute he's looking out his window at the whole neighbourhood. I'm like, how does this work?
He stood absolutely fine.
I wouldn't be surprised though. Thinking about it as we're talking, that Marina Sirtis didn't want to carry on with the film after the rape scene, and maybe in the original film she survived.
Yeah,
and they thought no, but instead of changing it from a broken arm to something more fatal would have actually helped. Wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I love the delivery from the doctor. Mrs. Rodriguez has expired.
I know. What a fucking lobby, man.
She is no more. She has gone to sing with the choir invisible. She is an ex-ship's counsellor.
Fucking bedside manner's terrible.
Absolutely. At the station, they can't ID the gang from the CCTV because it's 1985 CCTV. you know. Back at the apartment, Kersey's filling his own shells. And Bennett's like, you do all this? Nothing's too good for our friends. He packs his wheelie and he says, I think I'm going to head down to the store and buy some ice cream.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're going to buy ice cream? He goes, well, this is America, isn't it? I'm like, what? Like, what? It is such a fucking boomer film.
I know. It really is. America, fuck yeah.
Such a fucking boomer wet dream, isn't it? Now, making shells is badass, but I'll tell you what's even more badass. Biting into an ice cream bar.
Oh, teeth first on that.
Fucking ouch.
Was it a Magnum?
No, it was just like
Magnum.
an ice cream. That would be good.
I thought it was a feast. At first, I thought it was a feast.
I thought that was an Easter egg.
You do know the story about Magnum ice creams, don't you?
I don't.
You know,
know.
you know where they got
Magnum
the name
PI?
from. You know where they got
Magnum
the name from. The idea was that your man Roger Moore liked a choc ice, but wanted it on a stick. Because by the time he got down at the bottom, this is I'm told from various places on the internet, this is true. And so he spoke to the ice cream company, and they created the Magnum
Wow.
because of it. Now that's kind of connected to this because he starred with Michael Caine in the worst Michael Winner film that exists, Bullseye. Have you seen that, Paul?
No.
It is rotten. It is disgusting. It's about
Get it on the list. Get it on the list.
I did it on Cult Connections with Ian. It's fucking dog shit.
Saying
It is
telling me a
absolutely
film is
awful.
rotten and disgusting is.
But the thing is, it's meant to be funny, and it ain't. It's not even the gags
you
just
love it.
don't work. It's kind of like a heist movie, but it's shite. Anyway, there's much better. There's much better films with both of them in. But yeah, there you go. Magnum. I'm going to put that down as a thing. I'm pretty sure we've never
That was a
done
good
that.
3-star. You've gone off on a Michael Winner, Magnum, Roger Moore related.
Yeah,
Michael Caine.
Well done.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. I never got any ice creams named after me. It never happened. But I did. I decided to create the Magnum, Michael. What did you do? I've won 2 Oscars, you fucking prick. I don't know. Now I'm just talking to my fucking self again.
It's like watching Stella Street. Do you remember?
I know.
Hey, Keith, where's the shreddies?
I love that.
I'm going to fucking shreddies, man. No, I don't have to watch Stella Street again. I absolutely adored that as a kid. Giggler nicks his camera and he blows him away from about half a mile away.
Yep.
With
That was
this.
more Bronson enticement, wasn't it? The way he throws that Nikon camera over his shoulder.
That's product placement, isn't it?
It was. Yeah, it was.
And traffic.
Next day, the cops arrive and the old girl's yelling at the cops, I'm glad he's dead. He stole my pocketbook.
Creeps.
They are a proper bloodthirsty neighbourhood, aren't they?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
people-
absolutely. Well, I think they've been pushed to the edge. I think
Yeah.
that's what it is.
But it's like, I know that Giggly deserved it because he was a bit of a cunt, but it's just like everyone just, like, it's got this really upbeat, like, again, Casio keyboard music, isn't it? Everyone's like out of their windows going, yeah!
There's a lot of celebrating death. There's
yeah.
loads of celebrating death in this film.
And you think, just seeing someone blown apart with a Wildy Magnum that is designed for killing elephants would be quite harrowing, even if you thought, yeah, good riddance. But no, I like that scene, though.
The residents treat him like he's in the Magnificent Seven again. Do you know what I mean? This cop says to Schreiker, it's our hard work must be really having an impact. The neighbourhood's quite quiet today. Oh, like, Jesus Christ, you're fucking so stupid.
They killed the Giggler.
Giggle no more.
At Catherine's, they demolish a full chicken for dinner, the pair of them.
You seen that? Jesus Christ.
That was like the only thing it's the only thing I know how to cook. And he's like, I can't have sex now. I'm full of meat.
I'm full of meat, but see that chicken? It looked like something alien or that bit when is it the gremlins when they actually eat too much and
they
then
eat the
come out of that
chicken.
cocoon thing like.
She explains that her sister lives in Binghamton, New York, which, like an idiot, I haven't looked up. Glasses off here, by the way, and she's a 10. like Plain Jane Superbrain out of Neighbours in the 80s.
Plain Jane,
She
yeah.
says, that was a little she says she hates her sister, didn't she?
Yeah. And then
I
in the later scene, she's like, I'm going to stay with my sister. I thought you fucking hated that bitch.
Marry me.
Funnily enough, John, she does ask if he was married. I was married, but my wife died very suddenly. And I've written here,
death.
yeah, I've written here, oh, Dad, it's Mom. What about Mom, Dad? You remember that prick in the first film? Oh, I'm fucking glad he never came back. Oh, I hated that fucking
He was a
character.
cunt, wasn't he?
Oh, such a moany-faced little prick.
Aye.
They kiss and he leaves. And I honestly can't believe that Bronson doesn't fuck on the first date.
I know. Oh, God, he'll shoot you, but he won't fuck you.
And that kiss at the end of it is so horrible. It's just
yeah,
it's,
absolutely.
It's a creep fest.
Back in the neighbourhood, Freaker chases Paul with his semi-automatic.
Is this where he just like basically his like tactics are so shit, aren't they? He just walks out into the neighbourhood.
And just blows people. He walks out and soaks up bullet damage like he's got a really big health bar, like you will do in games sometimes.
He just follows Fraker down an alleyway and then he dives to the floor and throws Wildy into a. I didn't understand that either.
I think he's meant to have lost it. I think he's meant to have dropped it, but it doesn't really work. And there's a bit. He jumps down there's like these 3 steps into this kind of thing. He jumps down at this pile of rubbish and the whole thing bounces. It's obviously like a trampoline floor for the stunt. And all the fucking rubbish jumps up by about a foot.
I need to rewatch it again.
Oh, you've got to rewatch that bit because I watched that about 3 or 4 times and laughed every time. Great fun.
Brilliant.
He runs through. Is this a bit? He runs through that guy. Did anyone notice that weird guy in his bed with a beret when Bronson runs through his flat?
Yeah. They're going up the stairs, and then
is that like his name?
He throws a flower pot at the guy because he's not got wieldy, and then he runs through the hat, and the guy doesn't. He has no emotion on his face at all. He's just reading his newspaper.
Yeah.
And then the guy following Bronson runs through as well, and he doesn't even put his newspaper down. It's like
no, he doesn't. I love the fact that he's got. Because this is the bit he goes before that. He goes through this basement, and there's a couple of goons there, and one stabs him. Really stabs him really deep.
Oh,
like, fucking he's been stabbed really deep there. But luckily he's wearing this tactical vest.
The stab vest.
Isn't he? I've got one of them for work. And it's not where the similarities end. I've also got a double that does all my running for me. So he chases up the fire escape, throws plant pots down at the guy chasing him. Hey, Cuba, you had enough yet, or you're thirsty for more? This is real Home Alone stuff. You're right.
Oh, yeah.
And then he throws him off the roof. I mean, he really showed that dummy, didn't he?
Oh,
this fucking dummy that goes off the roof.
That's the one. Is that the one that crashes into the car?
And it's like,
does no damage at all. Boomer's obviously hated the character Cuba because of the Cold War, innit? Next day, Shrike's here to tell him to cool it. All right, make up your mind.
Nah, you did too much. You're making us look bad.
Yeah. He's like,
off that angle.
He's like, it isn't finished. I'm not finished. He's not finished. Like you said, it's like roaches. You've got to kill them all.
Pokemon.
Yeah, absolutely. Have we got the scene? Was it before where Bronson tells Bennett that he wants to try and do it without using the Browning machine gun?
No, we're coming to that very shortly. Very shortly.
Even I was surprised with this bit coming on. What?
Cockroaches have no natural predators in a block of flats like this. They are also resistant to pesticides. They carry bacteria like salmonella and streptococcus. You've seen your streptococcus.
You see cock.
There are about 4,600 different species of cockroach worldwide. And the best way to get rid of them is cut off the food supply. So stop being a minging bastard and clean your kitchen, Paul.
He was definitely trying to use that roach metaphor because he does that earlier.
Shrike does it earlier on, and then Kersey does it here. And I kind of like that return. I thought that was really good. Freaker calls the old bloke from the store, who again we only met for one line and 10 seconds earlier on. He comes running to find they've slit his wife's throat. Freaker calls Kersey. Now look what you did. You got me mad. All right, mate. Bennett shows Kersey this massive Browning gun. That apparently Charlie brought back from the war. So I had two questions. One, how the fuck did he get that back from the war? And two, who was he fighting? The Xenomorphs.
How do you get it through customs?
You can't sneak it in your bag, can you?
No, absolutely not.
There's two of them as well, aren't there?
Oh, yeah, thankfully, because that's important later on.
But why did because Charlie was on the edge, wasn't he? Apparently, they say in the story he was ready to go. And why didn't he keep that in his fucking flat in the beginning?
Because he got a steel pipe. That had been all right for a little while.
Maybe that's the stuff he was asking me to look to take care of.
That is the stuff he wanted to look after. Kersey refuses to let Freaker win, but he says to Bennett, "Give me one more day before we use the guns." And I'm kind of like, it's such boomer porn, it hurts. Later, he heads to Catherine's. She's going to stay with her fucking bitch of a sister. And then they get it on and then head out from food. So she's gone in the space of like a week, I think, from wanting to get to the bottom of his case to wanting to get to the bottom of his shaft.
Bronson shaft.
Different kind of vigilante.
They're being followed by Freaker and his goons. And as you pointed out, he stops off to get his mail. I'll be right back. I've got a copy of Reader's Digest to pick up.
Razzleman like.
Gun aficionado. While Catherine's in the car, Freaker knocks her out and sets the handbrake off. She rolls down the hill and hits a car, Hollyoaks style, and the car's just inexplicably explodes.
I actually had to look this up, the most flammable cars. When I looked it up, most flammable cars. So apparently the most flammable cars you get, it must be UK, is Kias and Hyundais.
Fucking hell.
It probably goes up, doesn't it? Probably goes up.
Yeah. If there's any cars exploded in Sterling or an FK postcode in the next 3 weeks, John, you are getting fucking pulled in, mate. You're going to get pulled in and they're going to hit you with no bruises showing.
I know.
I honestly can't believe fucking Paul Kersey always ends up with someone getting Final Destination.
I know. She was sitting in the car minding her own business.
He is a human Final Destination, really, isn't he?
He is, isn't he? Yeah.
Anyone who has anything to do with him.
It will get you eventually. Death comes to you.
But he actually sheds a tear, doesn't he?
He does, because now it's personal. I mean, more personal.
Yeah.
Stryker gets Kersey put into protective custody, i.e. back in that fucking cell. And the next day, Bennett's auto shop's blown up. Bennett, of course, goes fucking nuts.
Yeah.
He heads to get Chuck, but obviously he's not there. So he grabs the guns and heads to the fire escape. The gun just doesn't fucking work. No. It jams and they batter the fuck out of him and throw him off the fire escape.
Yep.
Stryker takes him to see Bennett at the hospital because Bennett won't speak to anybody else. And Bennett says, "There's still one gun. Blow the scum away." Stryker goes into the room to get them, and Kersey's out the window. He had to go somewhere. And you're right, he's kind of hanging out the window. He did broken bones a moment ago. And where has he gone? To get more parcels. He's basically getting weapons sent through the post. It's a fucking Gun of the Month club.
The dark web wasn't even a thing back then. And he was getting everything.
Absolutely. Back at the apartment, he grabs the Browning and puts the bullets round his neck. He really is missing a bandolier here. If he got bandolier, he'd have been all right.
Apparently, the original script is much more of a Rambo meets Death Wish thing, but Bronson didn't want it to be that violent, so we got the very mild, violent version.
Bandolier from smithies.com, $24.99 leather. Also on jessimara.com, a product called a bandolier is just a phone holder on a strap, 20 quid.
Nice.
There you go. Apparently not. It's now really kind of ramping up, isn't it? This is where it really... The last 20 minutes, it all fucking happens.
Aye.
What's this weapon he's had shipped through the post, lads? Did either of you get what he's got?
This is the missile launcher.
Yeah, the rockets.
Shipped through the post.
Hang on, so I've got...
They obviously never used to scan like parcels at the time, did they?
No, I've not got it. I've got
Okay.
everything. I've got the shotguns, everything apart from bloody the...
Okay. That's all right. I also didn't have it because I was certain this wasn't a real weapon. I was certain this was made up. And I think that answers the question, John.
It's like a handheld bazooka, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
But even
It's like a smaller version of the one that Arnold uses in Commando, which is also very small.
But I was also thinking when he was using handheld in the Browning, surely you couldn't do that. I mean, that would burn your hand.
I have got. He's holding this gun by the barrel. His hand would have melted. But luckily for him, he's got Gary Wilmot to wander around with a box of ammo.
He's got a zip thing.
Yeah. He's got this zip gun.
It's that homemade.
Like, we'll murder some fuckers with this.
I can't believe that Bronson didn't say, "Okay, I've got the fucking Browning. You take the wieldy."
Yeah,
you let him go out there with a fucking
thing. Yeah, that was a thing that a serial killer used to use, didn't he? He used to go about killing people just with that pipe thing. You just
right
together, blow them away. I was like, man, that is just weird. It's basically just a bite pump with a fucking shell in it.
That's exactly what it is.
But Bronson's got other guns back in his flat as well because he goes back later and gets another gun, but he could have given that to his mate, surely.
Aye, but it's just he put 3 bullets in and shot 5 bullets.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Freaker gets on the phone for more hired goons. Hired goons?
That bit's crazy, isn't it? It's like
it's pretty much a matter of like Gary Oldman in Leon, isn't it?
Everyone!
Yeah, exactly.
I want to imagine the receptionist at Goon HQ, like taking the call.
I know.
Okay, we'll send some out.
Hireagoon.com.
I was looking at I thought this was a joke at first, so I was looking at the largest billet manufacturer, and the largest billet manufacturer is called Ammo. Inc. And I'm like, no, that's like Acme, isn't it? Turns out it's a real fucking thing.
I thought Wilder Coyote straight away.
Is it not the bullet farmer from Mad Max Fury Road? He opens up the big gun on them as all these goons arrive, and all of a sudden the whole building's packing heat. Everybody goes into their drawers to get a gun. And I'm like, what the fuck have you been doing? There's bikes and there's a car crash happening here. In fact, one biker's driving around swinging a train. It's like a chain. It's like fucking road rash.
Aye, but did you see that he hit a poor guy? The guy was up against a car, and the guy ran with a baseball bat and just started smashing the car up from that. And the guy.
It's a full-on riot. We, of course, get Molotovs and a man on fire.
Aye.
And it's our favourite stunt. And most importantly, it's real, not a bit of CGI to be seen.
Oh, aye. Yeah, you can see the oil on him. It's brilliant.
But that poor guy with the fire, they set him on fire and shoot him while he's on fire. It's bad.
I know.
Molotov cocktail, of course. It's petrol or booze in a bottle with a cloth wick. I mean, if you're listening to this, you don't need us to tell you what a fucking Molotov cocktail is. You already well and truly know. The name Molotov cocktail was coined by the Finns during the Winter War. In 1939, the name was a pejorative reference to Soviet Foreign Minister Yaroslav Molotov, who was one of the architects of the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact on the eve of World War II. And if you haven't seen Death of Stalin, get that watched because he's a cracking character in that. It's Steve Buscemi.
Oh, is it?
Plays Molotov in that. That's a very, very funny, very grim film. I like that one a lot.
I love funny and grim.
Yeah, me as well. I love how he's able to basically run up to these guys that are shooting at him and miss, and he just stands there for about 5 seconds, soaking up bullet damage while he takes his shot. Off. Yeah. He also jumps down to this trampoline floor that we mentioned, and at this point, they start to burn down huge bits of the set. And I kind of thought, this is really expensive. I hope you don't need any reshoots.
Well, later on, the fire brigade show up and the building's actually just collapsing. And I thought, at what point does the firefighter stop trying to put out a fire?
Yeah.
Because in effect, it just falls down like, all right, lads, pack up, let's get the fuck out of here.
These burning plywood buildings, by the way, look like those prefabs that they knocked up in Kent after the war that old people are still living in 75 years later. 2-room prefabs. There's a bit where the locals pull a chain across the road to take out some bikers, but that's not enough. They then run up to them and shoot them in the face at point blank range. And this is where they do the celebratory dances on their still warm corpses. Fucking what?
It's missing, like you mentioned Magnificent Seven earlier, but it's like it's missing a reel, isn't it? Where Bronson taught everyone to defend himself.
Yes,
they
absolutely.
They go straight into that mode of like
having Rider or something. I know what you mean.
Yeah, they're all just badasses.
And they could have dealt with the problem way before Bronson even turned up.
You don't need me, you're all cold motherfuckers. This final scene for me would have been probably about 3 or 4 times better if it was filmed at night. I think if you had nighttime filming here and lots of oil drums full of fire and all that kind of piece, I would have loved that.
Yeah.
Death Wish should have a lot of night set. I reckon most of it should be set at night. Yeah,
the other two are, aren't they?
Mm.
A gang member gets the old 2x4 treatment here, but this is the one, John, that you pointed out. Instead, it's got a knife, which goes straight into his skull.
Right. No crack, no nothing, just right in there.
There's more falling off roofs than the American Adventure Cowboy show, circa 1992 here as well.
Somebody's shooting for a tree and they shoot somebody just dangles down for the tree. Well, why is he on a tree?
Now, was there not shooting in a tree in Death Wish 2, Paul? I'm sure there was bits where they were down at the tar pits bit and they were shooting in the tree. Was it not
the undercover
Lawrence Fishburne?
Oh,
yeah, he was in a tree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That must be.
That just kind of jogged my memory when you said that. Schreiker shows up and gets involved. There's some great running and gunning from the two of them, and I'd like to have seen more of that.
This is where he says, I owed you that one, dude. I owed you that one, dude.
Oh, yeah, he does. He absolutely does.
And somebody else on one of the other things I was watching earlier was saying that moment in cinema was the birth of the buddy cop movie, which I don't know.
No, because we'd had 48 hours before that.
Was it? 40 hours
Yeah,
before
40
that?
hours is 79, John?
Okay.
1980? Yeah. Previous episode.
I'm not cutting that bit.
They're not really buddies in 48 hours, though. Nick Nolte is a cunt to...
No, but
I know, but he's a cunt to Lorraine as well, isn't he? He's a cunt to his missus, so he's just a cunt to everybody.
This woman knocks this hood out the window with a broom.
Yeah,
like she's really cleaning up the neighbourhood.
I love the way the villains are just coming out of everywhere, aren't they? Like drain pipes, off the roofs. They're just.
I bet they pick on that one guy, didn't he? He literally kills that one of the hoods, and the next minute, I shot him. Then she's running out on fire, and then
he runs out on fire.
When is he?
Yeah,
he's shooting when is he? I'm like, fuck's sake.
I liked that a lot. Kersey heads back into the apartment to reload, and Freaker corners him. Before he can shoot him, Schreiker shows up and puts 4 bullets in Freaker. He gets a glancing shot in the arm. Kersey asks if he's okay, and he says it's just a nick. But he really wants to be looking out for those blood clots from the arm.
Oh, God, aye. That's a killer.
Freaker jumps up. Bulletproof, asshole! And Kersey turns around and murders him with a rocket launcher at almost range.
What a way to go.
Now, the building remains intact, unbelievably. But what is even more unbelievable is that the wood panelling in this room remains intact.
Aye. Yep.
The rest of the gang, confronted by the residents and without a leader, absolutely bottle it. Schreiker tells Kersey to head out. He'll buy him time. And the last we see of Paul Kersey is him walking down the road like the end of an episode of The Incredible Hulk.
Yep. No. I've let my smoke on it.
All while the city burns around him.
With his little suitcases, isn't it?
Yeah. And he dives out of the way at one point of some police cars. If you're watching really carefully, when he gets right at the end, he has to dive out of the way of these police cars. But it's instead of the na-na-na-na, it's really funky. Funky slap bass stuff. It's beautiful.
It's a great soundtrack, Jimmy Page.
It is. It's a lot of fun. I love this from IMDb, by the way, which I don't say very often. Charles Bronson hit him with the lead pipe. It took longer than anticipated because Bronson didn't want to show up to do it, as Paul said. After a while, Michael Winner said, "Charlie, we all want to go home. Would you please hit this man so we can go home?" Bronson replied, "I can't hit that kid. He looks like a fucking choir boy. I'll lose my audience." Which I liked a lot. Right.
I want to see Bronson hitting choir boys.
Huh?
So I want to see Bronson hitting choir boys, and I am his main audience.
A death wish for choir boys. That's pretty good. Pope wish. Now you're talking. Get it written down, Paul. It's gold, this. Absolutely gold. Right. John, what other facts have you got?
I was looking up vigilantes in New York, and the first thing that came up was maybe the guardian angels that used to walk and go about with the berets.
I'd forgotten about the guardian angels.
So apparently they're still a thing, but they cover 130 cities in 13 countries, so it's just not a New York thing. They're everywhere.
I thought the Warriors had paid to those bastards.
So yeah, and the Ducky Boys. Burglar alarms were invented in 1853. The only reason I'm saying that is deterrents for burglars.
You just about managed that.
Right. Burglar alarms were invented in 1853 by Augustus Pope. Yay!
Was he not the fat kid that ends up getting stuck in the thing in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory?
I was looking at the most powerful handgun. It is a Smith & Wesson Magnum 500, and the fire rate of an M134, which is known as the minigun, can fire up to 6,000 rounds per minute.
Okay, fantastic.
That's what I got.
Paul?
Put
a light on and you might see.
How can you see?
It's got proper dark now, isn't it? I was going to say Michael Winner edited this film under the pseudonym Albert Crust, which I think is a name that suits him more than Michael Winner.
I agree.
And Deborah Raffin, who played his too young love interest, was a friend of his real wife, Jill Ireland.
Oh, right.
Who they used to go horse riding together. So,
and there they go, husband riding.
And also, and you know the other lady that's sexually assaulted later, the black lady. Yeah. She was one of Michael Winner's real life girlfriends,
right?
And she accused him of keeping her as a sex slave and whipping her. So.
Fucking hell.
Well done, Albert Crust, again.
Yeah, you crusty dick bastard.
Eat all your crust.
Michael Winner's dick
crust. No. That's a good name for a band, though. Write it down.
Winner's crusty dinner.
There was a Walgreens at one point, second largest pharmacy chain in the US, founded in Chicago in 1901. And get this, associated with Boots pharmacies in the UK, the company is called Walgreens Boots Alliance.
Ooh.
In June 2008, Walgreens agreed to pay $35 million to the US for overcharging state Medicaid programs by filling prescriptions with more expensive dosage forms of ranitidine, which is a generic form of Zantac, and fluoxetine, a generic form of Prozac. In 2019, they also agreed to pay more than $269 million to settle federal and state lawsuits that accuse the corporation of overbilling federal healthcare programs. What a bunch of pricks. We've done constitutional rights. I couldn't find anything about a Kansas City vigilante, but I did find Robert Andrew Berdella Jr. He was an American serial killer who kidnapped, raped, tortured, and murdered at least 6 young men after having forced his victims to endure periods of up to 6 weeks in captivity. His crimes took place in Kansas City, Missouri between 1984 and 1987, and he went by the pseudonym Alfred Crust.
He's a pie as well.
To own a handgun, you need a valid city handgun license in New York City. To own a rifle or a shotgun, you need a city-issued permit.
What about a Browning machine gun and a rocket launcher?
You need to have fought in the Xenomorph Wars. I'm pretty sure that's all I've got. 90 degrees. So there was this bit where he's like, we need a handgun because otherwise we can't keep our windows open. It's
I know.
90 degrees outside.
And I'm having to sleep with the window shut. I remember that.
32 degrees, which it wasn't far off in Carlisle today, by the way.
You have to keep them shut for the plank trap to work, though, don't you?
You do, yeah. And that looks like everything I've got.
That's got to be 101, isn't it? Easy.
So Paul's guessing 101.
No, that's not my guess, but I said that's got to be.
Right.
I reckon we've done 107. I'm going to be very specific.
Okay, John?
103.
You're both wrong. It's lower.
Oh.
It's... Any guesses?
92.
It's 85.
Oh, what?
You know, disappointingly, that's the first time Paul's not hit 100 on this podcast.
But in his defence, this film just did go into a small tight loop, didn't it?
In his defence, it's fucking bullshit. Oh no, I've got one more. I missed one more. The film grossed $10 million after its first 10 days of release, which means it made its money back in less than 2 weeks because it cost 10 million to make. So we've got 86. There you go.
Okay.
Not bad at all. Right, listeners, if you like what Paul's doing, because he's got so many great new ideas there, he's bound to come up with new ideas. Paul's going to tell us where you can find him online and on what registers.
So, I'm on the Facebooks, Evil Genius Artworks. Instagram is where I mainly post all my stuff. So, at Evil Genius Artworks. Etsy store's got all my stuff on there at the moment. So, yes, Evil Genius Artworks on Etsy, and you'll be able to see all the books and prints and everything. And we've got, like I say, the Cobra's coming out on the last day of August, so that's nearly ready.
Brill, fantastic. You've got loads of stuff out there at the minute. You've got the Rambo Blair Witch stuff.
Yeah.
You've got the Shining stuff, the Shining prequel Boulder. You've got the Frank,
which is my reimagining of an 80s version of the Punisher with Stallone playing the Punisher. And Scarface versus Leatherface, which was my last release, which is also I did a Charlie Brown style.
That's great fun.
Version of The Shining called Little Jackie Boy and Friends. So lots of good stuff on there. Yeah,
you'll get all that on Etsy, which is fun. Paul doesn't know this yet, but we are going to commission Paul. We are going to pay Paul money to create us a T-shirt, probably with Charlie Bronson on.
Absolutely.
So you come up with some ideas for us, Paul, and let us know how much money you want for that. And listeners, you will be able to buy one of those.
We need a video van in the background, though. That's one stipulation. It's anywhere in the background. Get a video van in there.
We might get Paul to do us a range of shirts. There you go, listeners. If you're interested in that, let me know, and we'll let you know how we can get you a T-shirt with either Charles Bronson on or a video van. Yeah,
I'd buy that for $20 plus.
If you like listening to me, you're a fucking idiot. But personally, you'll get me this week. I'm on Cult Connections talking about The Wicker Man. I'm on Modern Escapism, singing a song and reading the news. And I'm also on Hallmark of Greatness talking about a film that these two must know, 1992's Deathstalker.
Yes. Vaguely familiar.
What a load of fucking cobblers that is.
So I know somebody with really chiseled jaw in it, if I remember right.
Yeah, and he can't act either. Right,
looks like the son of Khan. See, Khan, and he had the son with it.
He does. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I've got Deathstalker 1 and Deathstalker 2 on Blu-ray.
On Blu-ray?
101 Films just did it.
Joe, as we recorded, pointed out he had 1 and 2 on VHS. So up yours. But yeah, so that's where I am. That's not this podcast. Over the week or so.
Is that the original Wicker Man or Nicolas Cage's?
Oh, it's the original one. No, it's the original one. I'll never watch. It for me, that Nicolas Cage remake is like Blues Brothers 2000. I'm never going to watch it. Never going to watch it.
Yeah, it shouldn't be allowed. Just like I'm never going to watch Company America 2.
Oh, I've seen it. It's shocking.
I just don't want it.
It's absolutely shocking. There's some really good.
Wesley Snipes is maybe good in it.
Bits. Yeah, if you can get a Wesley Snipes supercut, he's the best thing in it. If you like what we do, again, go to patreon.com/100 things. Give us a quid and we will give you a shout out. Now, I'm under pressure and duress from the patrons this week. So it's a special sweary one because a lot of people have gone, you haven't sworn at us for ages. So for the first time in months, I'm going to swear at all of our patrons, probably except my wife, Rachel, because I need to live with her. So Rachel, giving you a shout out, everyone else is getting sworn at. You fucking bitch. There you go. Rob Jones, dolphin lover, an all-round lovely cunt, is interviewing Forest player this week on Records and Bands. I will let you guess which one. The only Forest player that's ever had a musical career as well. Megan, Dale and Ali will be nerding it up at MegaCon Carlisle while we're in the sun next weekend, John. The fucking dweebs. Ian from Cult Connections and Bantha Liberation Front. Happy 50th birthday, you old fucking scrote. Maria from the same stable. Sounds like a fucking Fargo character. Emily, the only idiot adult I know that likes fucking Flight of the Navigator.
Ooh.
Nigel Davis makes amazing merch for us. She's not bad for a fucking hobbit. Dan and Gavin from Be There with Belson podcast are like the pissing Chuckle Brothers, except they're not funny. Joe from Hallmark of Greatness looks amazing in a dress, but Wednesday Addams, more like Tuesday fucking 5 a.m, mate. Mono rants at the movies. He's a lot of things. He's not a... I can't even fucking say these things. I feel awful. But this is what I promised people when I opened up the fucking Patreon, that I would slag them off. And now I'm having to do it. I feel awful because you're all good people. Mono Rants, that prick from Mono Rants at the Movies. He's a lot of things. He's not a scab, but he is a massive fucking bell end. Josh Wilson, passport not having American. Sounds like a fucking Trump voter to me. Gadget, Ral Moat cunt. Stig, middle class Rishi shagger. Biggie, musical genius, but so was Gary shagging glitter. Phil Fairish, shelf stacking twat. Gavin McGill, shit tier Scottish football and Lyle Taylor fan. Ian McComish, minion laughing bastard. Punk equals puke. Jen Stewart is a clumsy cinema stair falling bitch. And her brother, I don't know him, but I bet he's a fucking tosser. Paul Parks, I'm not saying he's tight, but he dreams of being a fucking Yorkshireman. That's it. I can't do it. I feel awful. I feel terrible. These people are giving us money. These people were giving us money every month until right now. But I do, honestly. John loves you all. I think you're all a bunch of fucking arseholes.
Oh, yeah. You do.
John, say something nice to the people, because I've just been horrible to them.
Well, I'm just going to tell you, I'm getting married soon, so our schedule might be a bit bumpy, so somebody's going to marry me.
There he is. Bronson.
It's back. Johnny Bronson.
That reference, listeners, you'll have to go back to Death Wish 2 for.
Get it done.
Now, funnily enough, and I know we covered this before, we're not going to be doing it. We won't do it next week. Or we won't do it next episode. John and I next week are going to be in the sun, drinking pints, and probably me just getting sunburnt.
Desperados.
So we'll be 2 weeks away from now, and I think we're probably going to do Sexy Beast because it matches in with the fact that we're going abroad.
Yes.
But Paul, you are going to come back later in the year, aren't you? Before the year end. And you're going to do the business.
I'd love to do that. Yeah, that'd be great.
Do the business on John's chest.
Hey, Mr. Whippy.
Yeah, we'll do the business with Danny Dyer, because we did a Danny Dyer earlier in the year, so we need to do another Danny Dyer. Of course, we are not doing films that are made by the studios that are currently in embargo. So we're not doing any of that stuff. So you will get a lot of British films coming up, or you will get a lot of kind of stuff out of the periphery until that's resolved. But I know there's a few of you that I've promised guest slots that listen regularly. We will be getting you on, but the films that you want to do have all been fucking embargoed. So we'll be doing them later in the year.
I look forward to hearing you discuss one of my favourite lines from cinema ever. Do it, you fat cunt.
It is good. Fantastic. So look, I've been Plenty, he's been John, and he's been Paul, and this has been 86 Things We Learned from Death Wish. I. See ya.
See you guys.